Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Skulk, bringing you more Major Minor. It's been a while since I did a recording on one of these, and there was a reason for that. I had my wisdom teeth pulled again. First was the top teeth, but that was a while ago, like last year. This one was, well, like, I think about 2 weeks ago, and it took a while to heal, so I didn't think I should be recording anything for that time being. So now that I'm much more healed, I'm coming back into it. Alright. Continuing on our story. As far as I remember from seeing this, I remember that Riley has done a lot of doggy dung to the story. And it's not just him. It's... what's his name? The king of that area. The Immortal King. His children are just snotheads. And then back on the other area we have... the guy from New York that caused brother and sister to go to claim the power, but the brother seems to have a whole lot better mindset for the thing. She may be clever, but she's doing it in a really bad manner. Singe's office. Singe, you have to listen to me. We'll die if we stay here any longer. Rook, it's not that simple. You don't run into a gun pointed at you, with a gun pointed at you. I don't know how many times I can say this. They'll take it as a provocation. We must remain docile and obey them. Remember what Azure did, Rook? If he didn't obey, we'd all be dead. I guess you're right. Speaking of which, where is Azure? Resting. The ordeal was very trying. I'm afraid they passed out soon after. But they'll be safe from now on. He's a good guy. He may be in the business area of taking care of the idols, the people that, run the show, but he definitely does a lot of the work behind the scenes, but he doesn't mean he doesn't have a heart. It's true what the culprit said. It's up to us to mitigate the damage. Trying to run away will kill us all. Knowing that, would you still run away? If you do it, you would kill us all. Is that what you want to repay Kyla? His sacrifice gave us our lives. We can't squander this gift. Gift, huh? Gift, huh? Man, this is gonna be a PR nightmare. Kyla didn't even get to sign the waivers. Things haven't exactly gone as planned. But Rook, I have to tell you something. Something that can never leave this room. What is it? I started to dig a little deeper, into Kyla's history. I wanted to notify his next of kin. But I couldn't find any. And he didn't get to fill out any forms. So we don't have emergency contact info. I guess his family stayed under the radar. That's hard to do in this day and age. To be honest, it was the same in Akron. Looking him up gave me next to nothing. It's like we have ghosts on the tour. So what are we gonna do then? People will want answers, Singe. That's exactly the problem. I've never been clueless in my life. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out some paper. He places it face down on the table in front of Rook. Huh? This is what must never repeat. You only turn it over if you give me your vow. It's all I could find in my search. Rook hesitates for a moment, utterly confused. I know that people want answers, but announcing Kyla's death to the world, I fear will only cause confusion. Rook is dumbfounded. He slowly turns over the paper. I don't need to say gulps, come on! A moment later, he looks up at Singe in shock. But this... That's right. It's an obituary. Rook, I don't know who he lost to that bomb, but the real Kyla has been dead for months. My vision slowly returns, along with my sense of touch. I'm greeted to a damp floor beneath me. My hands rest in a puddle of moisture and I shiver. Much colder than when I returned to the hotel room. I concentrate, trying to remember what happened. And that's when the unpleasant memories assault me. Attacked by the servant of Lord Plier? He must have taken me here after he choked me unconscious. But where am I, exactly? That's what confuses me. As I try to remember, I bring myself to my knees. I brace myself on a nearby wall for support. I don't think I'm a prisoner, as I'm not chained up. I look around frantically. My stomach growls. Wherever I am, there's definitely a shortage of food. After a few moments pass, I bring myself to my feet. It took a little while to gather the strength. I make my way to the door of the cell. Of course it's locked. Why wouldn't it be? The hope that exists for a moment is quickly shattered. I grip the bars, as if by instinct. A moment later, I see something in the corner of my eye. A shadow slowly walks across my field of vision. I back away. I don't want them to notice me. My only assumption is that this is some sort of guard. I could see them turn around and make their way back. But suddenly, something intercepts their path. I see a shapely silhouette of a woman. Upon seeing them, the guard calls out in shock. It's very apparent that she's not supposed to be here. But she knows this as well, and takes action. A swift and stylish punch to the throat silences him. He gasps for air and falls to the ground, helpless. I hate it when they go down easy. It's no fun without a fight. The guard tries crawling away, fearing for his life. But he crouches down and pushes his face into the dirt. So, do you have any last words? Something that could change my mind? I'm not all about killing, you know. I watch the guard squirm and attempt to speak, but it's quite clear that she's mocking him. She pulls out a blade and quickly ends him. The floor becomes stained with blood. I hope that you find peace in death. Ouch. At this point, my back is against the wall. I see her fiddle with his pocket and find some keys. After inspecting them closely, she turns to me. What are you doing all the way back there? Do you not want to get out of something? Did you not want to get out of something? Come a little closer. Let me see that pretty face of yours. After a brief pause, she looks back at the guard. Oh, don't worry. You're not going to end up like him. I'm being paid handsomely to keep you alive. She fiddles with the lock and becomes more relaxed. And I become more relaxed. After moments pass, the cell door swings open. Gosh, there's so much blood. People wonder why I wear red. Get up, love. You're coming with me. She smiles at me and helps me get on my feet. But this is all too confusing to take in stride. What? Is something wrong? Don't go getting cold feet, dear. Not when we're so close to the end. I'm not scared, just confused. I have no idea who she is, or who's paying her. I decided that these are good questions to open with. Well, you can call me Sam. But your other question is a longer answer. So let's move. I hate wasting time. She immediately runs off, expecting me to follow. I guess I don't have a choice in the matter. I just have to hope she was forthcoming with the rest. So I follow her and search for answers. And freedom. Can't forget about freedom. Sure, I'll save. Boop! Alright, back into play. The first thing I notice is more cell doors. Like we're in some sort of prison block. Could this really be Lord Pliers' residence? I notice Sam isn't too far away, so I inch towards her. Took you long enough. Not like our lives are on the line. She crosses her arms and taps her foot. Excuse me for not giving her my unconditional trust. There are some questions I'd like to have answered. I already told you, my name is Sam. Just stick to my side and you won't die. I'm being paid to keep you alive, remember? We can part ways when I deliver you. Trust me, I'm not enjoying this either. But I couldn't turn down a bonus like that. That was one of my main questions, actually. Who was paying her to secure my safety? And did she end up rescuing Kaylin from these cells? Sorry, Kaylin was nowhere to be found. And you mean you don't know who paid me? You must be more oblivious than I thought. Does the name Righty ring a bell? He gave me quite the generous offer. Normally, I'd refuse, but not this time. I got offers from other people as well. Edemian and Connard, their names were. You seem quite popular on Terra to Azure. But money talks, and they were too quiet. I had to take Righty's offer in the end. I'm told that you two go back a little bit. So I guess Righty went through with his attack. But I guess it's easier to do with a team. I take this as confirmation that we're in Pliers' home. Yeah, he shouldn't be too far away. When I deliver you to him, I'm out of here. I'll be set for life after all this. She gestures broadly at the open cell doors. I have no idea why he held prisoners, but Righty paid a bonus for their lives. It won't be long before they expose Plier. After a few moments of walking, we reach the large door. I can only assume that this is the exit. Righty should be just out of this door. Sadly, I can't get involved any further. I'll find a way out elsewhere. But trust me, we'll meet again. And maybe we can have more fun. Sam runs off, brushing my shoulder on the way out. I'm left alone with a large door in front of me. Could I trust her? Well, this is a trap. I look behind me, and she's already gone. I guess I don't have any other option. I open the door and hope that Righty awaits me. There was barely anything story-wise. I don't need to save right then. I immediately notice how large the cellar is. Plier and Riley had a massive operation at play. It's wet and humid down here, not cared for. I take a few steps forward and scan the area. Meep, meow. Didn't Sam say that Righty would be here? I look everywhere, but I can't find him at all. Hey! And just like the cellar, he pops up behind me. just like the cellar pops up behind me? I don't get it. It doesn't scare me as much, but my heart still pounds. I don't think he could have picked a worse time. Oh, I frightened you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to tread lightly in here. He looks behind me, as if expecting to see someone. Was Gala back there, by chance? He disappeared around the same time as you. Before I can break the news to Righty, I let him know that Kyla passed away last night. He was involved in a tragedy back on Earth. I see. That is most unfortunate. He was a very bright soul, you know. It's hard to find that in this bleak world. I better not tell him that it was my choosing. In fact, I should probably not tell anybody that. Wait a moment. Back on Earth? Am I to believe that he left Terra? But that's impossible, Azure. Our connection doesn't work that way. I swear that I'm telling the truth. Before I woke up in the cell, I went back as well. That's a pretty tall tale. But it would explain the king's interest. There's more to you than I thought. He crosses his arms, losing himself in thought. You must have seen Sam, right? I hired her to help me out today. She was supposed to rescue my prisoners. But there were just too many. I didn't know Plier was capable of this. His hatred truly grows and knows no bounds. Sam saved me before she left the manor. Yeah. And I should probably tell Righty the truth. It isn't Lord Plier behind this. It's Riley. At least, it's been one pulling the string. He's been the one pulling the strings. But before I can, we hear crashing noise. It sounds like it's coming from the stairs. I look to Righty and ask what we should do. We need to investigate. I think Plier already has Kaelin. He wasn't in any of the cells. Just like Sam mentioned. That worries me. We can do this, Azure. Together, we're going to expose the king. He hands me a sword. I don't know what to do with it. I really hope he wasn't expecting me to fight. The art of swordplay has been lost on Earth. Before I can say anything else, he runs off. Gosh dang it. Get back here, Righty. Or at least slow down. I guess maybe I should just hurry up because he's in a hurry. And maybe, no, forget what I said. You do what you do. I'll catch up as soon as I can. Just, yeah. I follow him to the best of my ability. And it isn't very long until we get upstairs. I'm baffled by how large this place really is. It's a stunning counterpoint. Excuse me. The stunning counterpoint to the Wayfarer's Tavern. And for that matter, the society I saw before. Is this really what the upper class was like here? Calling it a mansion would be an understatement. It's a variable labyrinth and showcase of wealth. We turn corners until we arrive at a large atrium. I assume that we're tracking down the noise we heard. And sure enough, it's a demon and Connard. They immediately turn to us, drawing their weapons. Righty. Righty. Hand over the savior. I don't want to fight you today. I'm afraid I can't do that. We're here to rescue Kaelin. After today, Velasquez is exposed. You just don't give up, will you? There's nothing you need to expose. Endymion draws his daggers and lunges towards Righty. Righty quickly weaves to the side and punches his gut. Endymion stumbles backwards, winded. A lucky hit. You need to stop being so blind. The king wanted Kaelin imprisoned. If I don't save him, he'll die. Lord Plier is a relentless killer. There's no way Kaelin could escape. Righty draws his axe and holds it forward. Help me take down Plier and rescue Kaelin. If you don't, then you're our enemy. What do you mean, our enemy? The savior is on our side, you know. Endymion takes a fighting stance, looking at me.
It's not true, Ademian. Azure chose to side with me yesterday. Even he saw through Valescu's facade. Spouting lies as usual. You'll do anything to get your way. But not this time, Righty.
He lunges towards Righty once again. But this time, I take action. I jump in the way and hold out my sword. Ademian stops in his tracks, dangerously close.
Don't tell me it's true. We went through so much for you.
I tell Ademian that he's overthinking things. Siding with Righty was safer than rushing to the king. I had no idea what he wanted with me, and it was scary. But rescuing Kaylin would reveal the king's intent. If the king was truly evil, I'd stay away. But if he wasn't, then we could venture to him safely. Saving Kaylin was more like flipping a coin to me. Better than rushing in and against an unfathomable odds. I came from another world, and I couldn't be sure. I needed to know Valescu's true nature first. If our situations were reversed, he'd do the same. Seems like a good enough explanation for him. He sheathes his daggers and assumes a natural stance. Very well. I trust you. But we don't have time to rescue Kaylin.
Like heck you don't. Taking down Plier is what you wanted. Helping me will accomplish that too.
This is where I decided to tell him the truth. Lord Plier wasn't behind all this. It was Riley. He played the role of an advisor and controlled him.
What? Are you serious?
But he saw the blooded rags. We know Lord Plier attacked you. That's why he came here to begin with. Before I can continue, we hear noises upstairs. As if on cue, Riley enters the scene. I'm surprised you didn't see that, Ademian. You work with fake evidence all the time. But let's get things moving, shall we? I'm tired of your endless bickering. He turns around and grabs something from behind him. Oh wait, he grabs someone from behind him. Ademian and Riley immediately take a fighting stance. This must be Kaylin. You can't put aside your differences. Not even when lives are on the line. Kaylin squirms in his grasp, clearly overpowered. Really? Oh well. Story-wise, I guess. Riley holds him still and places a knife to his throat. You all think you've won, but you couldn't be more wrong. Soon, this entire building will burn. There won't be any proof left behind, and I'll hunt down the prisoners you saved, just as soon as I take Kaylin's life. But not here. I have a plan. Come and chat with me and Lord Plier. One last chance to resolve things. No matter what, there will be death. And the outcome will decide our election. Today, the throne will be secured. He slowly backs out of the room, holding his hostage. I look at everyone beside me. I'm not sure what to do.
So it's true.
He really is the one behind this. They both look at me.
Thank you for telling the truth.
Yeah,
Otherwise we might have killed Plier.
I shrug and tell them it's not relevant anymore. No matter who's in charge, we have a decision to make.
Should we go after Riley?
Or is it some kind of trap? They both cross their arms and ponder in unison. And I notice that even Connard is staying out of this. Are they working together? Never thought I'd see that.
We have to play the odds, Ademian.
What do you mean?
We can follow after Riley. If we do, there's a chance Kaylin will live. But if we assume it's a trap and leave, well, Kaylin will die for sure.
If I do this,
will you hand me the savior? Is that how much Kaylin means to you?
Riley pauses and looks at me. It's odd how Ademian didn't even ask me my opinion.
You ask too much of me, Ademian. Azure chose to come with me freely.
Right.
You're making a mistake. The fate of Terra is at stake here. It's far more than the fate of Kaelin. Please, let the Savior come with me. This will save both Kaelin and Terra. Saving Kaelin is useless on its own. I will help you if you give me the Savior. Otherwise, I will take them by force. This will kill both you and Kaelin.
Endymion returns to a fighting stance. Do I truly mean that much to him and Connor?
Endymion, you know what I do for a living. I protect the lives of others. To that end, you have me at an impasse. If I fight, you too would kill me. And then, you'd take the Savior away. This would leave Kaelin to his doom. But if I give you the Savior, everybody has a chance to live. You should become a politician, you know. You're great at screwing people over, making them go against their values.
Endymion changes the subject, choosing not to respond. I feel like I'm just some sort of commodity now. But to be honest, anywhere is safer than here. So if saving everyone means leaving Riley, that's okay.
A temporary alliance, then? A temporary alliance.
They shake hands, but both parties seem hesitant, as if physical contact between them is uncomfortable.
We tried working together, righty. It's hope it ends better with time.
And so just like that, I'm back with Endymion and Connor. I can't say I'm surprised after all. The mission I sided with Righty for would be completed. Kaelin would be freed, and I know Valescu's intent. And I know Valescu's intent. If his intent is evil, Kaelin could testify. But if it wasn't, then I'd gladly help him. It seems like all the basics are finally covered. You start walking up the stairs, full of purpose. I turn to Connor, who still seems to be processing this.
So what? I'm the third wheel now? They could have picked a better time.
They couldn't have picked a better time. He growled before he follows suit. Soon enough, we're all ascending the stairs. When we reach the top, we notice the door open. The door is open. We all stare at each other, exchanging reassuring nods. In this moment, we were united. Our goal is clear. And with that resolve, we venture forward. Yeah, let's save. We're halfway through the episode. Let's just do that. Boop. As soon as we enter Plyer's room, we separate. We all stand in a line facing towards Riley and Plyer. But it seems like they made a quick switch. Plyer now holds Kaelin hostage. And Riley, Kaboo. I examine their faces and notice a disparity. Riley seems calm and collected, completely unfazed. But Plyer looks around in a panic, fidgeting awkwardly. Riley's leadership was now more apparent than ever.
Riley, what do you want? You're cornered, and there's more of us.
I want to secure the throne, Endymion. That's all I've ever wanted.
That is something you can never do. You need to give up before it's too late. Riley, we can negotiate for your life. Killing you and Plyer isn't our goal. We only ever wanted to end your campaign. Just give up, and you can still live.
I'm afraid it's too late for that. All of our prisoners are already freed. It won't be long before they start talking. And after that, they'll want vengeance. Living in fear isn't living at all. We would never be truly safe from harm. But it's good to know you're not hiding. We were sick of pretending not to know. so it's obvious that you belong to the king.
This works in your favor, Riley. We can have him make a public statement. He'll announce your innocence to everyone. He could gladly make a statement like that, especially if you surrendered your campaign. At that point, you'd be free men.
I notice that Plier has calmed down by now. It seems that he likes what he's hearing. Riley, on the other hand, seems surprised. You really think you can do that?
Of course, it would be simple.
But we want protection too. A place to stay, guarded at all times.
Don't press your luck, Riley.
It's you who should be pressing. He presses his blade up to Kabu's throat, smirking.
Fine, but you two have to stand down. That includes handing over Kaylin and Kabu.
Plier and Riley exchange glances before nodding. We have to do this my way, Demian. You can come get Kabu from me directly, slowly, and with no sudden movements. After that, Connor can get Kaylin. Then you'll escort us all to a safe place. I need to ensure that you're not lying. We'll be at the back of the group. No one can be behind us. I know the true nature of you two. Endymion and Connor exchange glances this time. Connor looks worried, but Endymion looks confident. It was complicated, but this might all end peacefully.
I'm going to walk towards you now. I'll raise my arms so I can't attack. When I get there, you hand over Kaylin.
Riley nods, and Endymion starts his walk. Righty looks on, unsure of what to think. But if things weren't awry, I'm sure he'd attack. Slower, Endymion. There's no need to move fast. He obeys instantly, almost like a puppet. Riley watches in fright as the assassin approaches him. I can see Connor grip his sword, just in case.
Kabu and Kaylin, everything will be okay. I promise this won't last much longer.
He reassures the two hostages as he arrives. After a few moments, he's face to face with Riley.
You must stay true to your word, Riley. I'm going to take Kabu and walk back.
Of course. I wouldn't dream of crossing you. But before you go, can I say one thing? You're dead. No, I didn't. That's it.
Make it quick.
Riley clears his throat before speaking. It echoes throughout a large hallway. That's a loud clearing throat. You should never trust a politician. We're all dirty, especially King Velasquez. Or should I say, my true employer. The demon looks shocked, unable to move. Did Riley just say that Velasquez was his boss? This must go deeper than any of us thought. Riley uses this momentary confusion to make his move. He runs his blade along Kabu's throat effortlessly. He squirms and falls to the ground in a puddle of blood.
Riley, you jerk!
He reaches for his dagger, but it's not fast enough. Riley plunges the knife into his guts multiple times. After the final stab, he twists the knife. The demon falls to the ground, making the puddle larger. Riley stands there with a sadistic grin, laughing. Endymion, no! Connor lunges forward, but Riley intercepts him. He holds Connor in place, stopping his attack. Plier looks horrified, staring at Kabu's body. But his grip against Kaylin tightens. He's panicking. Riley walks over to his pawn, still laughing loudly. Do it, Plier. Kill Kalen. He's the biggest thorn in our side. If you do it, we'll be unstoppable. Plier gulps audibly, his body shaking.
Plier, don't do this.
Riley interjects, still holding Connor tightly.
It's not too late to become a free man. Riley has been using you all along. There isn't any real proof of your crimes. But if you kill Galen, I can't help you. There will be witnesses to your crime. Do the right thing here and surrender. I'm against Velasquez as well, you know. So I'm not acting in a way that helps him. I want to help you and save Kaylin.
Flyer, we've come too far to back out. Everything we worked for is on the line. I order you to kill Kaylin right now. Flyer looks at Riley and looks at Kabu's lifeless body. He presses the knife harder against Kaylin. Any harder, and he draws blood.
You're right about that, Riley. Everything is on the line right now. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, Kaylin.
He closes his eyes before he uses the blade, almost like he can't attach himself to his actions. He adds a third victim to the floor, and more blood. But it isn't Kaylin's blood. It's Riley's. He grabs his throat and squirms in pain. Plier looks at what he's done, horrified. Kaylin uses this opportunity to break free. He runs towards Riley, gaining his freedom. As he sees this, he releases his grip on Connor. Demian! He immediately runs towards Demian's body. He cradles him in his arms, shaking him softly. This isn't funny, Demian! Wake up! Player runs to Kabu's body and holds it close. With the violence gone, they cry over their losses. Riley, Kaylin, and I stare in shock.
I'm sorry, my son. But it isn't over yet. Before any of us can speak, we get visitors.
Oh, that isn't him, it's me. But it isn't over yet. Before any of us can speak, we get visitors. They enter the room from the back, as if they watched. Oh, it's you two. So this is what the revolution looks like. Pathetic. Would you agree, Nami? Yes, Nagi. I agree. They are hurt over such small losses. These men mean nothing in the grand scheme. But I'm thankful. Nagi. Yeah. But I'm thankful they became violent. It helped me test out my little theory. Father's been deceitful yet again. Big surprise. They stare at all of us with sly smirks. Who are these people? And why are they watching? The man, or Nagi, starts to walk towards me. So you're the man the father wants. I have to say, I'm surprised. I expected something different. I immediately hold out my sword. I'd never used it before, so I mimic what I've seen. There's no way I could defend myself against him. Don't be stupid, Savior. I just want to get a closer look. I back up in time with his steps. There's no way I want this guy close to me. Riley stands forward and holds out his axe. He's leaving Kaylin's defense to come to mine. Well, at least there's someone my size. But it's useless. You can't stop me. Riley takes this as a challenge and leaps forward. But I find it very hard to explain what happens next.
As if she teleported, Nami blocks the way. She extends an arm and punches right across the room. He hits the wall with a thud and falls to the floor. He's motionless, knocked out cold. This leaves me and Kaylin alone and defenseless. Thanks, my love. His love? I thought they were brother and sister. Okay. He was starting to get on my nerves. He continues walking towards me. I try to back up further, but I hit the wall. He grins at me, knowing I can't go anywhere. Do you have any idea who you are? Do you have any idea what's inside of you? I make eye contact with Kaylin. I can tell he wants to help, but it's pointless. Anyone who can take out Righty is just too powerful. I give up and try to run, but it's useless. Nami appears by my side and pins me to the wall. Nagi holds out his sword as he approaches me. Father tried to trick us. The power that he wants isn't within Terra. For some reason, it's within you. Before I can even think, I'm skewered on his blade. What? He stabs it deep into the wall, pinning me in place. My body lights up in pain as I start to bleed. He twists the blade inside me, intensifying the pain. The gear on the base of the sword starts to turn. I can feel myself becoming weaker. I'm dying. Looks like we've won the race, Nami. I didn't think it would be that easy. Anything to say before I unleash this?
There's no... Here's the future we create.
Yes, to the future we create. He pushes the blade deeper, and the gear spins faster. I feel like he's draining me of my essence. They give me such terrifying grins, I have to look away. Moments later, my vision fades into nothing. The last thing I hear is Plier and Connor's cries. They weep over their family that they will never see again. For on that day, they became only memories. Several months prior. Months? Alright, because we were only in this area for how long? I smile as I run down the halls of the local mall. Every day that passed, my odds are even bigger. Bigger and better. The pop star contest had become a worldwide phenomenon. Stocks rose and stores sold out. Everyone wanted to win. I tried not to drink too much, but it was addicting. Not only the caffeine, but the prize that awaited. Everybody wanted to live a life of luxury like that. We all had worries we just wanted to melt away. There were so many stories I could choose from, but I had a local joint that I liked to stick to. It didn't get much business, and I thought that'd help. I suppose that's something like a gambler's hope. The less used machine will pay out more, right? At least that's what I told myself every single day. Nobody had one yet. Both cans were still in the wild. I turn a few corners and end up at my favorite store. The clerk greets me as usual, and I walk inside. I notice a new addition. They have TVs on the wall. Some sort of news report about the contest was airing. You really couldn't go a minute without hearing of it. It's not often the whole world unites like this.
Oh, dear. I walked a little deeper into the store. For some reason, they kept the cooler in the back. Maybe it was to tempt me with other choices first. God, okay. I wonder who I'd meet if I won. I'm sure the people running the tour would be awesome. At least, I hope that was the case. Some people can be all business and no pleasure. Go, hey! But I'm sure Clance would be great, at least. You hear all kinds of things on the news. He was young, and he had a long career ahead of himself. Why, you do. You're the meanie one. You're the bad one. You're the man that kills everyone. Stop it. But let's not forget about the people behind the scenes. There were those involved that no one even knew about. Not everyone liked the limelight, after all. Oh, it's you. Hey, Jade. A slight pain starts radiating in my head. I hate headaches. I've been getting them a lot lately. I do my best to push it aside as I arrive at the cooler. When I get there, I notice they're sold out. Did somebody come and buy out their supply? Oh, shocker. I quickly turn around and walk back to the clerk. It's extremely unusual that this place would sell out. I decide to talk to them and ask them what's going on. The clerk shrugs and says that they have lots. He tells me that I must have overlooked them. That's weird. I'm not the type to do that. Hey, it's you. The headache gets more intense, and I stumble. I press myself against a counter for support. The clerk asks if I'm okay, and I signal that I'm fine. I look at the TV once again. The report has changed. Now they're talking about murders or something. Hey, Rocker. It's a shame, but that's the kind of world we live in. Maybe we were using this contest to mask our flaws. I decided to give it a shot and check the cooler again. I'm not expecting anything, so I have nothing to lose. But before I can get there, the pain returns. I take a moment to brace myself, holding onto a shelf. It gets worse, despite all of my coping techniques. I try to call out for help, but no one comes to my aid. And just like that, my body gives up. My hand slips from the shelf and I fall to the ground. My head crashes harshly against the linoleum floor. I expected to be knocked out, but it's not what happens. It's like the fall flipped a switch in my head. It's at that moment that I remember everything. I immediately rise to my feet and clutch my chest. I fully expected a blade to be stabbed through my body. I pant heavily before realizing that I'm fine. I still rest against the shelf, utterly confused. Why was I here? Before I won the contest? Who were those people that attacked us? What happened to everybody in the ballroom? How could I get back to help them? I'd have to win the contest, wouldn't I? But this store is all out. I could have sworn that this was where I won. After that thought, one last memory returns to me. I check my pockets, and for sure enough, there it is. The replica that Singe gave to me in our meeting. I gulp audibly and look back in the clerk's direction. For all intents and purposes, this was a winning can. I don't really have a choice. I have to use this. It's the only way I could get back to it and try again. Perhaps this time, things could be different. I walk back and laugh, telling the clerk he was right. He rings through at the purchase, and I pay him properly. Even though it was mine to begin with, but you know that's how the story goes. I leave the store, certain of one single fact. This was how I won my place in Clance's World Tour. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Where's the jingle? Give me the jingle. I want the jingle. It was a good jingle. I'm jolted awake, and I cry out for help. But I quickly realize this was an overreaction. I pant heavily, and my body uncontrollably shivers. I'm covered in a layer of sweat that feels like ice.
Hey, it's okay. You're safe now. Take this. It should help you out.
He must have noticed my shivering. He places a blanket on my shoulders. I wrap it around my body tightly and look up at him. I ask him what just happened and where we were.
You were thrashing about in your sleep. You passed out after a bombing accident. I wasn't sure how long you'd be out. As you can see, we left the building. We're in the underground bunker now. You can rest easy. We're safe.
He takes a deep breath, as if it's finally all over. He leans back in his chair, giving me a slight smile. So I was thrashing about my sleep? Was that whole thing just a dream then?
We have lots to talk about, you know. So much has happened, and all so fast.
I shift my body around and rest my feet on the floor. This whole place smells stiff and uncared for. Almost like the prison back in Plyer's house. The events of the ballroom play back in my mind. Connor lost Endymion, Plyer lost Kaboo, and I lost my life. Dang. I wish there was something I could have done. Akron must sense the sorrow on my face. He places a paw on my shoulder and comforts me.
It's okay. I know what you're feeling. We're more alike than you think.
I laugh softly, instantly doubting him.
I don't think he has the same weight on his shoulders. Life is full of hardships like this, but one thing is the same, no matter what. We all have regrets when we overcome them. We all have regrets when we overcome them. Mine would be my lack of honesty towards you and everyone here. But at the same time, it was necessary.
Lack of honesty? What does he mean by that?
I don't even know where to start. But please, let me finish my story. It's important that you know everything. I believe that you've met Rio before, and I believe that you've been to the Ark. These are a couple of things we have in common.
Those were the last things I expected him to say. I stared at him in sheer confusion, speechless. Perhaps the story goes deeper than I thought.
He granted me a portion of his power, the ability to slow or stop time's flow. And with that, he gave me an objective. I was supposed to protect all of you, everyone inside the convention center. It seemed like an easy enough task, right? But he gave me opposition. Someone bent on killing all of you.
Maxine Armstrong.
Yeah, I'm sure that you figured it out. It was the arms heiress visiting Japan. Or should I say, my sister. My true name is Akron Armstrong, youngest in the Armstrong family line. But I've long since abandoned that name. He continues unleashing revelations. More of the puzzle pieces fall into place. Things were more connected than I ever could have guessed. Rayo pitted siblings against siblings. Rayo pitted sibling against sibling, one to protect and one to kill. The forces of life and death in our hands. He turned it into some sort of contest. If any were left standing, I would win. But if everyone died, Max was the victor. The prize was the Ark itself. we would get to rule as an immortal being. Life and death would cater to our wills. So this was a game to Max. If she won, she could undo the deaths. That, and bring back our sister. I remember Ryu telling me about this. He said that he wanted a worthy successor, but he never mentioned Akron to me at all. I was under the assumption that it was only Max. I hope that things are making more sense. That was the true nature of what happened. The truth behind the convention center. So this was all just a battle over the ruler arc? And we all got caught up in it because of my role? Ryu said he had to watch me as well as the contest. But why would Ryu want to leave the arc? He said he was bored and lonely, but that can't be it. There has to be more to this story than we know. Either way, the battle is over. Max can't get to any of you down here. In a few hours, I will rule the arc. He lets out a soft grin. Max relied too far on her own power, but I only ever used it twice myself. Once, to plant my resume in Jade's office, and the second time, for the evacuation. Max was extremely eager to compete with me. She took care of the previous guard. I needed to enter the tour naturally. But after that, it was child's play. I know she worked better than anyone. I know how she works better than anyone. Pushing her buttons was incredibly easy. I asked him why he's so sure of his victory. If Max had the power, there was still a chance. No, there is no chance. We were playing her right from the start. She fell into our trap far too easily. Our trap? What do you mean by that? I was only open with one other person. It was Singe. He knows everything. I even told him of the Ark and our powers. We formulated a plan together. He's a genius, to say the least. That, and a very talented actor. Singe is involved now, too? I feel like after this, I won't have any questions. Max planned all along to involve weapons. It was very easy for us to exploit this. Initially, Singe fought back against her. We needed Max to feel like she had power. It made it more believable when he caved. At that point, she was getting cocky. Her staff loaded the building with weapons. Everything was going her way. She went on to kill Clance. Then she took care of the previous guard. That's when I entered the scene. The contest would last for one whole day. Midnight tonight will be the battle's end. It was important that we remained passive. Singe started to play a frightened role. No sudden movements, he'd say. We needed Max to believe she was winning. That's why. He looked away from me before continuing. That's why he looked away from me before continuing. Not me realizing Singe's. Okay, continuing. That's why we let Rocker and Kyla die. It needed to look like she was failing. Like I was failing. This made Max even more confident. Tensions rose in the convention center. Tensions that made me seem inadequate. People were fighting amongst themselves. They wanted to leave, but they couldn't. Singe was still playing his part. Max was clearly winning. It was obvious. So it was my turn to act. I pretended that my resolve was wavering. These people were dying on my watch. How could I ever guard anyone again? I put on quite the show for all of them. I even acted at the press conference too. I still feel bad about that outburst, but it was important to showcase Stout. Max had what she wanted. Singe was completely in her pockets. Her brother wasn't able to outsmart her, and everyone was still in one place. It would be so easy for her to win. That's when I decided to meet up with her. It was all going according to plan. She actually suggested that we team up. She said we could kill the rest together, but she didn't know I was recording. I got her to admit she was the killer, but she thought she was just conversing with me. That is extremely smart. Actually, it's almost unbelievable. But one part irks me about all this. It implies that they willingly sacrificed lives. I'm not proud of what I did either. But it was either them or all of us. I'm sure you know what that feeling as well. Either way, we worked with the police. The bomb going off was their signal. Instead of coming in, they set a perimeter. I did agree to work with Max. She believed that she had my allegiance, but I made use of a recording immediately. I gave it to both the media and the police. Maxine Armstrong is completely ruined. Receiving the records was their signal. After that, they'd attack the building. But everyone except for her would be gone. This whole plan assumed a lot, of course. First, that she would use her weapons, and second, that she would confess to me. But I know how she works after all. I was certain it would unfold this way. That's why I made them tactical signals. Trust me, she's not winning. If they didn't catch her, she's on the run. She'll lose control of the company as well. I picked that exact time to evacuate. She'd be caught up on saving her own life. There's no way she knows where we are. I believe that's what you call checkmate. This was crazy, to say the least. But if anyone could do it, it was them. And the fact that we're here confirms it. The strategy involved was unfathomable to me. I was just an unlucky soul caught in the middle. I don't know what your role really is. In fact, I don't even know if Ryo does. I don't even know if Ryo does. But he'll be coming here shortly anyway. He has to take me to the Ark. Or should I say, my new home. Perhaps he'll have some answers then. I suggest taking a walk around. Everyone is here except for Daz and Singe. They're resting in a separate bunker. I still thought it would be wise to do this. If Max found one of the bunkers, he still wouldn't be able to win. But for the first time, you're safe. I'd enjoy this evening with everybody. Your duty as savior may come soon as well. I nod, and return to my feet. He was right. Things were coming to a close. I slowly walk towards the exit of the room. But before I can leave, Akron calls to me. I quickly turn back around to look at him. Your bond with Akron was strong enough. Yay! Wait. Can I keep you for one more minute? There's something that's been on my mind. I'll take a few steps back. So mainly when you do conversations and choices, certain things will pull through. I'm glad I made some good decisions. I mean, there are some decisions I'm guessing that would have enacted better for certain areas. Like if I had Kyla, maybe something else would happen. Such as in the other area. Whatever the place was. Forgot the name. But he'd probably be there too.
Rook would be dead, but you know, I made my choices. I mean, there's still curiosity of what Kyla's backstory would be. But you can't get all the information unless you play through it multiple times. I'll take a few steps back towards him. I'm all ears, and I ask him what he wants to say. Well, it's about the Armstrong name. Why I ran away. Why I left it behind. It's more related than you may think. I press my back against the wall to listen. And listen, not... I guess he assumes there's no holding back. If he's about to leave for the Ark, he should talk. Let's see. Where should I start? Armstrong was run by my parents. That is, until about 5 years ago. They were working on a new chemical weapon, but it was too much to do on their own. They had to acquire investors, and fast. The company pockets only went so deep, so they scoured the globe for partners. It didn't take long to get what they needed. They held a meeting for the investors, a chance to show off what they made. Potentially to get more money too. But it wasn't so simple. Chemicals can be very volatile. I'm sure that you can guess what happened. The weapon went off by accident. Luckily, I was watching from outside. Well, I guess lucky is a relative term. I watched my parents die an agonizing death. They clawed at the glass, begging for help. But there was nothing I can do. Max was beside me as well, shocked. Our older sister had her eyes covered. After this, the family was in disarray. Our older sister was trusted into leadership, but she wasn't trained. None of us were. The whole world had its eyes on us. Some important people died that day. We tried our best to cover it all up. But you can't cover up memories. These events affected families everywhere. We weren't the only ones who lost people. It took a while, but we recovered. Business was good, and we traveled lots. Eventually, we ended up in Africa. A dignitary wanted our service. Some local warlords had threatened him, so the Armstrong siblings went for a visit. He requested our latest weaponry. The chemical weapons were put on hold. So we had to bring them explosives. He was very nice to all of us. He gave us a tour of his massive estate. Then he wanted us to meet his son. I was more than ecstatic to meet him. It's always nice to make strong connections, but the room he took us to was empty. He started crying as he told us the truth. His son had moved to America a while back. He made a fortune investing in companies. One of those companies was Armstrong. He broke down and kept asking us why. Why did we take his son away from him? But none of us knew what to say. The next thing I knew, we were passing out. He must have drugged the meal he gave us. I would have never guessed that he'd had a past like this. He always seemed so calm and collected. I asked him what happened next, and especially how it relates to current events. Well, we were separated when we woke up. I was tied to a chair, and he was there. My older sister was tied to a chair too, but she was in a room further away. This is where it gets familiar. We both had bombs strapped to us. He left the room and told Max to choose. Would she save her brother
or her sister. I begged her to let our sister live. She was the head of the company after all. I was nothing, and didn't matter. The man wanted us to experience his pain, but Max told him that we already did. We lost our whole family in that incident. Unfortunately, he was too far gone. What he wanted was revenge, and we were the only remaining Armstrongs. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? He used the same weapons we brought. We provided him with the means to do this. I begged and pleaded for my death. It seemed like Max's choice was obvious, but for some reason, she wouldn't do it. She let our older sister die. I still remember hearing the bomb. I heard the moment her life was ended. The man came in to free me. As soon as he did, I attacked him. I wanted to kill him. I really did. But he was armed, and he was stronger. That's how I got the scar on my face. He marked me with a knife, so I'd remember. He was never heard from again after that. Max and I ran back to America. She promptly inherited the entire company. A little convenient, wouldn't you say? I think that's what she wanted all along. She took the opportunity to offer our sister. That day, she'd get to run the company. But then, did she kill our parents too? Was she responsible for the accident? If she was, she finally got what she wanted. At that point, I decided to run away. But she told me one final thing. One day, you'll know what it felt like. She swore that she caved under pressure. It had nothing to do with inheritance. Her body just went on autopilot. But I would never know for sure. At least, that's what I thought. I didn't see her again until this ordeal. And of course, what does she do? Sets up these bombs and makes me watch. I saw the look on your face. The look of fear and indecision. How could you choose between Kyla and Rook? It would have been even harder if it were family. I think she wanted to send that message. She wanted me to see what it looked like. And it's not a pretty sight at all. But it did nothing to prove her innocence. She's not above killing to inherit. It's what she's doing now for the Ark. To that end, the message loses validity. I'm still left with this scar. I remember it every time I look at myself. My sister's death and Max's betrayal. I thought you deserved to know. There was a reason you had to choose, and it was only to prove a point to me. I'm sorry you had to experience that, but Maxine Armstrong is insane. She killed to take over the company. She killed to at a chance for the Ark. There's nothing she won't do. Now, I don't know why Singe agreed to help, but Armstrong is a heartless company. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a victim. I would be surprised if he was a victim. But I'll give you one piece of advice. If you ever see her again, run away. Doing that made my life all the better. He crosses his arms, as if he's done talking. I notice a slight glisten in his eyes. You don't need to give me a reaction. It's just something I wanted you to know. You can leave the room as you see fit. I nod at him, unsure what to say. I'm satisfied that I'm learning so many things, but I'm crushed at the sorrow he must have felt. one of the first things I'm going to do, I'm going to bring back my sister. She'll make this world a better place. And I'm very sorry for lying to you. I hope that you can learn to forgive me. As I said, lack of honesty is my regret. But this whole thing was a setup. I couldn't risk the operation. This time, I was forced to lie. I never would have done it otherwise. He smiles at me, with nothing else left to hide. Then he returns to his chair, ending the conversation. It's true. He could bring her back if he won. I assume he could do the same for all of the others. It would take a while to process all of this information, but at least some of my biggest questions were answered. I leave the room with a sense of satisfaction. Yeah. That is one heck of a story. And it's not done yet, either. Roger, you're still in here. I'm not sure why they keep putting you in here. I'm guessing it's just saying that you're still around. At least in heart. But yeah. And that'll do that for this episode. The thing is, this is being so long, I think I'm going to cut it. Maybe. I might not. Nah. Well, thank you guys for sticking around and for stopping by. And until I see you guys again, have a great day, everyone.